Well, welcome to the Omaze £1 million Wimbledon House, Jason Isaacs.
It's an odd thing, isn't it? Because it's a £1 million house because that is the brand, but it's actually about somewhere between £3 and £4 million quid.
Yeah, but what we like to do, you know,
just this sofa, I think, is £1 million quid.
It's just £1 million quid, yeah. But what we like to do is, you know, start you off on a level and then just raise you up.
Yeah, no, it's gorgeous.
It's always better to go up than down, isn't it?
I'm slightly bitter that I agreed to be involved in this, man, because I think it precludes me from getting involved in the draw. I don't think I'm allowed to buy a ticket.
Now,
I want this house.
You have just ruined my opening gambit because my opener was, I'm really sorry to be the person to tell you this, but because of your connection with Great Omaze Street Hospital Children's Charity, you can't win the house.
Very upsetting. I mean, not just because I'd like to win the house, it wouldn't, but because I'm a tennis nut. I'm a fanatic.
Are you?
Tennis. Yeah. No, I mean insane, obsessed. Tennis is my religion. And this is 10 minutes from Wimbledon.
What started this connection with Great Omaze Street Hospital?
Well, I was in the film of Peter Pan 20 years ago, and J.M. Barrie, the author of Peter Pan, left the royalties, or a significant amount of the royalties, to the Great Omaze Street Children's Hospital. And so they got in touch with me back then and said, will you have some connection, because Peter Pan was just coming out. And I was lucky enough, I'm immensely grateful still to this day, to be able to go inside and see what happens. I'd heard of the place, obviously, but to see the magic that happens inside the walls. You know, I'm in films about magic, but the real magic happens in places like Great Omaze Street. And to see, first of all, how none of the kids ever feel sorry for themselves or their families, but to feel the kind of spiritual wizardry that goes on in that building. You know, yes, it's a centre of excellence in that they have groundbreaking research for medical, anything that pertains to children's diseases and illness, but they treat people, but they also do something else. They look after the spirits and the souls of the people there, and the doctors and the nurses I've witnessed go so far beyond, and all the other workers, far beyond treating people. They do the very best they can to make it as happy an experience as possible. And you know, some of these kids are very, very ill and will be going there all their life. And all the extra facilities around their medical equipment are the things that the charity pays for. All the things that make their life as unsad as possible, in fact, as rich and as fabulous as possible.
Have you been to the Great Omaze Street Children's Hospital?
I've been very, very lucky. They've invited me in a few times, and some of the kids even know who I am, because there's nothing worse than going, hi, I'm Lucius Malfoy, and they go, I want to see a footballer. But I have been there, and it's an amazing place.
Do you wear the wig?
I don't wear the wig. I don't have the wig. The wig has its own agent and a big home in the Bahamas, I think. No, I've been to the hospital and I've seen the extraordinary things that go on there. Not just where they're treating them, but where they're treating their minds and their souls. And the family, let's not forget what they do for the siblings, because there's a lot of siblings there and family members who have been sidelined and not had any attention sometimes for years and years at a time. And so what the charity money often goes to is making sure that the families stay together and have a positive experience.
Are you allowed to tell me your best memory?
My best memory of Great Omaze Street?
Yeah.
That's like asking for your
favourite
children,
child.
you know? No, I mean, every time I go, literally every time I go, I'm amazed by what I see. I'm amazed by the various different offshoots of the charity. There are people there who've lost their children, which is one of the most tragic things that can happen to anyone. They've formed together a charity. They've taken that grief and that energy and they've turned it to something positive, and they do amazing and extraordinary fundraising for the hospital. And then I think of the kids' faces who don't in any way ever feel sorry for themselves and are cheeky or funny or rude or fully themselves and allowed to be and encouraged to be by the staff who are there.
Now listen, I've got a quick fire round for you.
Go
Is that
for it.
okay? Which is your favourite wig you've ever worn?
My favourite wig? Oh, it's got to be Lucius's wig, because it changed every time. One time it was, Paris Hilton, another time it was Lady Gaga. I made the mistake of being on Jonathan Ross' show once, and I mentioned that the wig changes, and he said, what is it this time? And I said, I think it's Madame Gaga, and he went, I think you mean Lady Gaga. And instead of coming up with a witty retort, which I did in the car on the way home, of course, I just blushed on television and made an utter fool of myself.
Which of your characters would you invite for a dinner party, and why?
I think Hat from the OA, genius, and can help me jump dimensions and maybe avoid death.
Yeah, great choice. And also, maybe you could bring him to the desert island. He could be the guy that you brought to the desert island. He'd be more...
It would be odd because he'd look like me, and I'd find that quite weird and slightly odd, but yeah.
What piece of advice would you give to your younger self?
I think I'd say you're enough. You're enough. You don't have to please other people, and you don't have to reinvent yourself in every company, and you don't have to exaggerate, you don't have to lie, and you're enough.
Thank you so much, Jason Isaacs. You've been an absolute
Thanks for
pleasure.
giving me the low chair, so I hope it made you feel big.
Well, it's okay, because I always like to be taller than everybody.
No, it's working.
Yeah.